Blockchain. You must have heard about this earlier. Today, we will go in depth to know about blockchain and its working. Blockchain technology was first outlined in 1991 by Stuart Haber and W. Scott Storenta, two researchers who wanted to implement a system where document timestamps could not be tampered with. You can see their research paper published as How to Timestamp a Digital Document. Below is the given link for the same. So by seeing this, you will know blockchain is not a new concept, but it took almost 2 decades with the launch of Bitcoin in January 2009 that blockchain had its first real world application. Blockchain seems complicated, and it definitely can be, but its core concept is really quite simple. Blockchain is a type of database. To be able to understand blockchain, it helps to first understand what a database actually is. A database is a collection of information that is stored electronically in a computer system. Information or data in database is typically structured in table format to allow for easier searching and filtering of a specific information. So, how does a blockchain differ from a database? One key difference between a typical database and a blockchain is the way the data is structured. A blockchain collects information together in groups, also known as blocks, that hold sets of information. Blocks have a certain storage capacities and when filled are chained onto the previous filled block, forming a chain of data known as the blockchain. All the new information that follows that freshly added block is applied into a newly formed block that will then also be added to the chain once filled. A database structures its data into tables, whereas a blockchain, like its name implies, structures its data into chunks or say blocks that are chained together. This makes it so that all the blockchains are databases, but not all databases are blockchains. This system also inherently makes an irreversible timeline of data when implemented in a decentralized nature. When a block is filled, it is set in stone and becomes part of this timeline. Each block in the chain is given an exact timestamp when it is added to the chain. What constitutes of a block? Let there is a block. It will have some data. Let it be I am learning blockchain. Then it will have a value which is called previous hash, and then it will have a value which is called its own hash. And what a hash is? Hash is something like a fingerprint of this block, as we human beings have a fingerprint, and fingerprint of two persons cannot be same. Similarly, hash of two data can't be same. Let's see blockchain in action. So here we have got a block number 1, which is known as Genesis block. This is called Genesis block because after a block is initialized, it will stay block number 1 forever and ever and ever. No other block can be number 1. It will have some data. It doesn't have a previous hash because it is the Genesis block. It will be the only block ever which will not have the previous hash, and then it will have its own hash. As of now, just think hash as a fingerprint. We will talk about it sometime later. And then there is a block number 2. And block 2 will also have some data, previous hash and its own hash. And here you can see that in block number 2 there is previous hash. It is a hash of block 1 which is exactly same to that of the block number 1 which is connected cryptographically. And that is where the link comes. That's why a blockchain is called a chain or blockchain. Similarly, next block will also have some data, previous hash and its own hash, and it will go on like this. So you can see here that if anyone tampers with any one of the block, then the fingerprint will not match, and then the chain will say something is wrong. That's why we say blocks are cryptographically linked together. So, what are the real world applications that are going on using this blockchain? Currently, multiple real world applications are being implemented using blockchain. We will discuss about some of them. Sometimes earlier, executives of largest retail company in the world, Walmart, were talking about this as it applied to mangoes and challenged their people with their existing technologies. How long is it gonna take you to take this package of mangoes off the shelf and tell me where they came from? And the number that came out was over 6 days. To trace it all the way back through their suppliers and handlers and processors and everything to get back to the farm it came from. And when they run a pilot project to track it via blockchain, it took just 2.2 seconds. Can you imagine it? So, this is the basic concept of blockchain. There are many more concepts of blockchain like mining, immutable ledger, distributed peer-to-peer network, hash cryptography, and consensus protocol. You might be like, what are these? But no problem. We will go through this in another video. Thank you. Keep on watching.